this, cause this shit's about to get crazy like a mosh pit. We lost it.
Screens, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood ones of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted robbery, executed sloppily. The poppers see this mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful. Friends, welcome to Middle Path. This Thursday is very exciting and very humbling as well. I have a lot that I wanted to talk to you guys about. We are on YouTube for now. We are on Facebook for now. But in a moment, we will be only on Rockfin. And, you know, I think I forgot to put that link in directly. But I know you can link over to Rockfin easily from YouTube and other places. So if you can't find the link directly, there's the show tonight on Rockfin. We will go to Rockfin only in a little while. And until then, I'll just say what is up to you guys. It is good to be here. I may seem a little low energy tonight, and that is because I've had a wickedly horrifying few days as far as my Hashimoto's goes. You know, I always tell people I've had chronic pain since I was 16 years old because of 2 metal rods that are in my back because of really severe scoliosis that was attempted to be corrected, not for vanity reasons, although that's why I agreed to it, but for life-saving reasons, because if you didn't correct the curve, they were so extreme that like eventually my organs would fail and whatever. So I got this surgery, but the surgery itself caused lifelong pain and issues of other kinds, making me wish I were dead many times. But I have learned to deal with chronic pain to the point where people don't even believe me the level of pain I have, which is a compliment. I should take it as a compliment. But then I also developed Hashimoto's, and Hashimoto's at first had its whole set of symptoms, which Hashimoto's is a thyroid autoimmune disorder, which I'm positive that I got from certain things that I can't even say the name of while we're here on YouTube, but I'm sure you catch the drift. I'm sure that's where it came from. That's where I think most autoimmune comes from. And so I got Hashimoto's, and Hashimoto's at first was just like most thyroid issues. It made me very low energy and what people probably perceive to be like depression-like symptoms. And then I gained a lot of weight and all of these things happened, right? And I thought I was just getting old. And it took a long time for a doctor to figure out I had this disorder. And then I started getting medication and things seemed to improve for a while. But as time goes on, and especially for women, often hormonally your thyroid has all wrapped up in your hormones anyway. My whole point is the last 2 days have been hell for me because of Hashimoto's in ways that I never have experienced yet. I think I'm on year like 6 of having Hashimoto's. And I've never had this symptom, which was literally my entire skeleton aching, my bones aching. If you have bone pain, you know bone pain is its own level of severe pain beyond a lot of other types of pain. And so every bone in my body was like aching and throbbing and being shot through with electricity. And I am not exaggerating. All of my skull, my neck, my arms, my torso, my ribs, all the way down my legs, super, super painful. It was really, really excruciating and horrible, but it lasted about 6 hours or something, and then it passed, so I was grateful. And then I just started having really intense, God, I don't even remember now, because one of the symptoms is not remembering things very well. I'm not saying all this to complain or make you feel bad for me. I'm just explaining that my last 2 days have been excessively difficult, and that I may seem out of it and slow tonight, and that is why. My brain literally doesn't work as well when I'm having these flare-ups and makes life hard. And so, yeah, I'm genuinely trying to remember what my other shit was. But yesterday was really bad. That's all I really remember. It sucked. And I was supposed to be camping this whole time, and I only made it a day and a half camping, and I had to abandon and come home. So, so it's been a week, but I'm still happy. Life is still way better than it could be. I still have so much to be grateful for, including all of you out there who listen to the show and support the show in various ways. I just have been getting a lot of love lately, and I appreciate that too. Oh, and my other whole point of telling you this story is I'm going to ask for in a minute when we do a little breathing work like we like to do on Middle Path, that if you would like to kick a little visualization of me healthy and well in every way this direction, I would greatly appreciate it and you. But I wanted to say too, I've been getting love from people and support, and I always like to give thanks to that because people don't realize. I think people think that when you do a show and it has some traction and there are people, who I'm very lucky that listen to this show. There's thousands of you out there, and I appreciate all of you, but I think people assume that you get a lot of love, and I don't actually. And I do more and more once I'm more and more honest about that. I don't get a lot of hate either. I get a lot of just neutrality, which is cool, but it's like interesting. And so when people share how the show has impacted their life, how my books have impacted their life, or any of those other things, that just sharing some love back for the love that they get from Rogue Ways, I appreciate it. So if you are one of those people who have sent love my way lately, thank you for being you and for being here and for sharing that love. And it's the same when I was a teacher. I always tell my students, we get paid and it's shitty and whatever, and I don't really complain about it, but I do always say, like, when you guys share your enjoyment of my classes or my teaching or my presence in your life, that is the best payment I can get. And it is the same with Rogue Ways. So thank you to all of you out there. One of the stories I want to share that someone shared with me was, again, about All Endings Are Beginnings, my most recent book that is channeled wisdom from on high down into our eyes and ears and hearts and minds. And people are using it like an oracle, and it is incredibly always accurately responding to the questions and the prompts that people are giving to it. And so people keep sharing these stories, and I love hearing them. And most recently, someone shared a question about Reiki. They were asking, is Reiki the way for me? And the answer they got when they opened All Endings Are Beginnings was something like, your superpower was the name of the entry, and it was all about your superpower. And so they understood that yes, they should pursue Reiki, and that this would be like a superpower for them. And then they were asking another question, will I be getting the job that I need soon, or how is that going to work out? And the entry that they opened to was, the future is fertile. And I keep getting these responses, and I get it because I use this book in the same way. And I, as you've seen on our Lightning Oracle rounds, will also submit a question to the book and open it and get an answer. And it's always uncannily accurately responding to the question. And so if you haven't picked up a copy of All Endings Are Beginnings yet, then go to rogueways.org and check it out. Grab a copy. It is very cheap as far as books go. And for channeled wisdom, you can use like an oracle. It's pretty cool. So let's, and just, again, if you're one of the people who has bought the book, thank you for being one of the many people who supports the show in all of those ways. You can grab the books here on the site, rogueways.org. From Amazon, I link to Amazon through all of the page of my published works brings you to Amazon, and that is a perfectly fine way to buy the books. However, if you go to the shop, you can get All Endings Are Beginnings, Earth, A Trough in Time, Sine Curve of Aeons, and unfortunately not A Gypsy on the Res or Mutable Realia, but you can get the rest of those signed directly from me and sent to you with an inscription that only you will ever get. I channel those at the moment that I write them as well, and I also often hear from people that that's exactly what they needed to hear, and I am not surprised, because that is how God likes to work, coming through whatever ways can be come through. You can also grab tarot readings, guidance sessions. The One Day of Brightness Autumn Equinox is already for sale if you want to grab that and come to that event that is so uplifting and beautiful. A blessing or a healing ceremony and session. All of these things you can grab from the site directly, as well as so much more. Orgone, blessed crystalline stone jewelry, and all of that stuff. And thank you to everybody who does grab those things that they love. I love working with all of you. I am so grateful for that, and I love your support, because that also supports the show too. So I am on a sovereignty kick. There is a post on the site about how you are sovereign and how there are some documents you can access, and instead of sharing the link to those documents, I'm just going to share the link to this post so that it has more likelihood of staying up longer. And yes, and so there's that. You can go check that out. You can kind of see it here on the screen if you're watching and know what it's about. And we will talk about it more on Rockfin tonight. But YouTube, if you didn't notice, had just got me back up after a week hiatus of being banned for, I'm sure, medical misinformation, but I'm also sure that there wasn't actually any medical misinformation, but that's just where we're at. And so they just let me back on, and that's the only reason you guys can even see me on YouTube is I think yesterday was the day that the ban was up. And so they also deleted my Jennifer Daniels episode in which we talked to Dr. Jennifer Daniels about her life experiences living as a doctor in New York City and now no longer practicing medicine for various reasons. They removed that video entirely. It was very funny because they said, oh, we noticed you already have a ban, and so we're not going to extend the ban and censor you more, but we are just going to delete the video, and, you know, that's your bad for having this video, and, you know, you're lucky that we're not banning you further. Have fun. And they're just so helpful like that, so nice and supportive, those YouTube people. Thanks, YouTube, for helping me get my thinking more in line with the agenda. I really appreciate that force and coercion. It helps me be a better citizen. I am not a citizen, however, I am sovereign, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight in so many ways. We are going to jump over to just Rockfin now. We're going to do a quick practice, and then we're going to talk about all kinds of things, and most of these things tonight are the types of things that YouTube would ban me for. We're not doing us usually on Middle Path we go deeper into a spiritual principle or rabbit hole or series of practices or whatever, and tonight there's a lot we need to talk about, but it is spiritual in nature. The battle is spiritual in nature, and it ties back to our spiritual sovereignty always. And so that's Middle Path tonight. And so if you are on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else watching this, you want to hop over right now again to Rockfin. It is free. It's just like anywhere else. So you have to create a profile or whatever in order to log on, and that's it. It's just like every other site, including YouTube, that you're using right now. So hop over to Rockfin right now. We love you. I love you. Thank you for being here and being you, and I will see you hopefully on Rockfin.